Okay, so we may or may not be live. Oh, we're live. Here we are. Hi, everyone. I'm Kai Ashley, and this is Kelly Renee, and we have a wonderful chat for you today talking about Kelly's miracles. Thank you so much for actually suggesting to come on and talk about this, Kelly.
Yes, I'm super excited to start sharing all the good things that have happened to me in my life from working with you and keeping committed to personal development work.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So if you want to hear what's really possible, stay on the line and please go ahead and share this on your profile or share this with a friend or tag someone in the comments who really needs some inspiration right now, because this is going to inspire the pants off them. Okay, so let's share this each.
Okay.
Let's see. Need to get the word out. People need to know. The whole thing. Oh, here we are. Okay, I'll share it into my group and you'll share it onto your profile, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Share. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. I see we have a couple of people on. Let me just get it up so we can see your comments, because we are Zooming through Zoom. Okay, great. Hi. So Kelly has been my private client for, I think, over 2 years now, last February. Which is pretty amazing. And we've just continued to work on one thing after another. Well, I think it's not really one thing after another. It's more like multiple things at a time, isn't it?
Yes, and when I first came to you, Kai, I thought, oh, I'm just going to work on this one thing.
Yes.
Because really, when I first came to you, I was plagued by this one traumatic event. But really, that one traumatic event turned out being a lot of different things. But yes, that one thing we shifted pretty quickly, which I was amazed with because I lived with it for like over 2 decades and it haunted me.
Yeah, it was a pretty severe trauma loop.
It was horrible, and it eventually turned into physical trauma, which you also helped me with. There's so much to say. I don't even know where to start, but I just want people to know what I've been through and where I'm at now, because people need to know, they need to hear. Like, I used to have suicidal thoughts every single day, deep depression that would keep me hidden in bed, away from the world, terrible physical pain, heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty miserable life.
Yeah. I remember how you felt like you tried everything as well. And even the doctors were saying that you had to have like an operation for your back and a hysterectomy for your womb. And I love that you just knew that there had to be another answer.
Yes, and one of the major things that you've helped me with is back pain. And I had no idea when I was first introduced to your work that physical pain is from emotional pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that on a cellular level because I have experienced it. It is absolutely emotional pain. And that's why I sit here today right before you and I don't have that back pain anymore, because you helped me to unravel all the parts that kept the physical pain together.
Yeah.
In my back. And it was just like splitting it apart. Each time we would go and sit in a session together, we would just get to the core problem of what was holding that physical pain together. And just one day it was gone. And I really didn't even realize what was happening at the time. Mm-hmm. It was just surreal. Like, the pain's gone. My back doesn't hurt. What the heck's happening?
Yeah, I remember how bad it was for you. I remember you distinctly telling me that every morning you rolled out of bed, in your words, like an old granny, and you couldn't even get out of bed, and walking would hurt you, and that it was just excruciating pain nonstop.
It affected everything. It affected the way I slept, the way I walked. Exercise was out of the question. It was really hard to do my job anymore as a dental hygienist. In fact, I thought at the time that my job was causing me to have the back pain, but no, that's not why. Yeah, it was all these things that it affected.
Yeah, and for anyone watching, you're probably thinking, oh, yes, but that's different to mine. Mine's from an injury, or the doctor said this and this and that. But doctors don't really understand what it's from, even though back in, I read some facts, like back in 1992, the medical industry apparently finally admitted that emotions are a direct cause of pain, but none of them learn about it in their trainings at all. They're not told about it. And so instead, they tell people either you have to go on pills for the rest of your life, try risky operations that may or may not work. And when they show you x-rays of your back and you have like these, what are they called? Slip discs or?
Yes, slip disc or bulging disc.
Yeah, all those things. Well, if you want to learn more about this, you can read Dr. John Sarno's book, who was a pioneer of healing emotional back pain, of healing back pain and the emotions beneath it. And basically, he said that every single person has some type of crushed disc, of slip disc, of you can show an x-ray of a healthy person with no pain, and it can look exactly like the x-ray of a person with those problems. So as much as it seems like it's physical, it's just not. And when you actually do this work and you see how you can literally talk to the pain and it will tell you why it's hurting and it will tell you what's wrong and literally what you need to do to heal, you see like, nah, physical is all from the emotional stuff at its root.
Yes, 100%. And you've taught me how to go forward and help other people with their pain, which, by the way, I absolutely love helping people with physical pain, because there's so many of us out there walking around with this pain, and people think, oh, this is forever. They've told me this is forever. Nobody can help me. But it's utter bullshit is what it is, because there is healing. There is other ways. And I can't speak enough about healing physical pain.
Yeah, and that's why I love the title that you named this, is that miracles happen even when you don't expect it.
Yes, because when we started working on my back pain, I was like, this is not going to work. There's no way in hell this is going to work. And I was in the mindset of, this is not going to be for me. This is not going to work at all. And it did. I didn't really have any faith that it was going to help me.
Yeah. I completely knew it would too. I just knew, because I remember we'd been working together for like a good few months, and you brought it up. You just mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, I can heal that for you. Do you want to do a session on it? And I'm like, sure.
Sure, I guess. I've already tried everything else.
Right? Yeah, it's so great that you didn't go in for any of the operations that they recommended you, because the emotional problems would still be there underneath anyway.
That's true. I never thought about that. Yeah.
Well, I see physical pain as a genuine gift from our body. Our body is letting us know that there is something so wrong that we need to look at it and change it. And it's like a little flower. So it's like the emotional stuff is the roots, and then it flowers up when it gets really bad into physical pain to show us exactly where to look. And as you know, we literally talk to the pain. We find out why it's there, what it needs, all the things. And when you use the processes on it and then follow its directions, you literally have this inbuilt healing manual within you. Yeah.
Yes, we do. That's why they say the body is made to heal. Absolutely, it is. We have all the answers within us to heal our own bodies, because when you start asking questions, which you're really good at in your sessions, you get answers right away from your body of what to do, how to take care of it, how to heal, what not to do, etc.
Yeah, I just love it how you can get in communication with it. And it can be really hard to do on your own. Like even I find it hard to do on my own sometimes. It's just so much easier to do this work with a gifted practitioner like Kelly Renee or me, because you can only go so far with your own blocks, and you have to be able to go into the pain. And with the breathwork tapping methods that we use with somatic tracking, it makes it really easy and it just dissolves it at the root. So yeah, just know that if you are in pain and if you think you've tried everything, but you haven't tried this, then you haven't tried everything.
Yeah, there's so many things out there people do try. And I get that too, because I came to you having tried everything I thought, but
Yeah.
really I hadn't tried everything. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I keep feeling called to bring up the fact that you were advised something that really hurt your feelings, which was that you would have to have your wound removed, and you didn't want to do that.
Yes. I guess like over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was told that I was going to need a hysterectomy, and I was like, hell to the no, that's not happening at all. And you have helped me again with terrible wound pain, so bad that I couldn't even walk some days, from fibroids. And the pain has substantially gotten better. I would say it's about 85 to 90% better.
Right. There are long stretches where you don't have pain now. Whereas I remember you were telling me how it used to be every day.
Every single day, not just when I was on my period, but every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about the healing was how we actually went in and we gave your womb a character and we were able to talk to her. And it turned out that your womb is a very bossy lady. And she knows exactly what she wants you to do and when you want to do it. And she tells you what you're not doing right. And she has all the information encoded within you when you just listen to her. And of course, use the healing method with the breath work and all that with it.
It's amazing what our body parts will tell us. I mean, like, amazing, people.
Yeah.
My womb, her name is Mercy, because we gave her a character name and all of that. But anyway, yes, she is very bossy, and she tells me 100% what to do, what not to do, how to take care of her, which doctor to go see, which doctor to not go see, which healing to do. I mean, I could go on.
Yeah.
All the answers within.
I actually really remember how, she was telling you that about this one doctor that was closer to you, and you sort of felt like self-pressured to sort of go because it was closer and all these reasons, but you just didn't feel right about it, so you kept putting off the appointment. But then what happened next?
The pain kept getting better and better. The longer I would sit with her, the more time I would sit with my womb and my body and just give her space, the longer I would be pain-free. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
I would get more days of pain-free. The more time I would give her, the more just showing up for my body. Really, that's all it is. It's showing up for yourself, showing up for your body, sending it love, sending it compassion. And eventually all that adds up and you do get a reprieve. You get some time to just not be in pain. And that's what happened for me.
Yeah, I think to me, that was some of the most amazing healing that I've ever experienced. Actually seeing, especially because we gave any other pain in there, and we imagined the fibroids, and we gave them all personalities, and they all talked to us too. And I remember there was one part of the wall of your womb that was especially unhappy, and it was very dark in the imagination looking. And by the end of the session, it had fully transformed into like this big sun ray, like full of light shining out of you. It like just ping really brightly. Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say about my womb and healing is I have been dead set on getting it better because hysterectomy is not an option. Having faith that it's going to just all work out, and it has.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey. I will say that. It does take time. It does take commitment, but my God, I think I'm better off as I am right now than without a womb.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes me want to cry because it was a very real option at the time because the pain was so bad.
Yeah, I remember they were really pushing you towards it, saying it was the only option.
Yes.
You know, they mean well, but they just do not understand that all of our physical pain and disease is from an emotional root, which I know people probably heard that, but do they really know what it means? It really is. It's not just has an emotional root, it just is emotions compressed and condensed. It's like that people pleasing and that not allowed to say no and that feeling angry for what happened in the past and disappointed and feeling betrayed and betrayed by yourself, and it all gets trapped in our cellular tissue and it grows and it compounds and compresses until it turns physical. It's just what it is.
Do you feel like that happens because we aren't taught how to process emotions as
100%.
children? Yeah.
100%. Yeah, we're told no one knows. Everyone does the exact opposite that we're meant to do. Everyone tries to, they either dwell in it or they repress it down. And we're not taught to have relationships with ourselves. We're taught it's wrong to talk to ourselves, which is the opposite of what an intelligent person does. An intelligent person, like a person with clarity, without like, all the blocks and the trauma, they have more intelligence. When you do this work, it clears up your faculties. And so you will talk to yourself more. You'll listen to yourself rather than bully yourself like a tyrant. Yeah, you actually allow the emotions to flow through you like a river or like weather just moving through your body rather than compressing it into these hard stones and lead weights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's where I was over 2 years ago. And now I've let go of so much. But I can't even imagine where I would be right now if I hadn't done any of this work. That's a scary thought.
It would have gotten worse.
That's frightening.
It is. It really is. People think that, they can just leave it, that there's really nothing they can do with it, but you can't leave it. Like, I believe everyone needs to do this type of work because we're carrying around so much baggage we don't even realize is there.
Yes, and even have heard some people say before, well, I don't really feel like I have any trauma or depression or any of that, but yeah, we kind of all do. That's what happens to humans, right?
Thousands and thousands of layers of it. And now that doesn't mean it has to stop you from things, but often it will stop you because it gets in your head. And we've got ancestral like wounding, we've got loads of karmic, loads of past life stuff, loads of cords and attachments, all this psychic energetic baggage that we really hold on to. And people think, oh no, I'm fine, I don't have any problems. It's like, well, that's just because you're disconnected from what's really happening inside your body, which is, it's not a bad thing, but it's just everyone has stuff to clear. Even the most successful, happiest people I've met, they still have this wounding of feeling not enough or feeling unsafe in some way, things like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's still doubts for me.
Yeah, absolutely. They never really go away, but some of them actually do. But with this work, what I love about it is that it stops becoming this big megaphone in your nervous system, and it starts becoming like this little tiny, like smaller voice that you can choose to listen to or not. That's the biggest thing that this work has done for me. There's some issues that I still get in my head with a little bit, but I know that it can all be changed and that it is all changing when I show up and do the work for it.
And isn't it so much easier to process through now versus the past when you didn't know what the heck to do with it?
Yeah, when I had PTSD, I would go into like fits of rage. I could get triggered and literally be a mess for months because of one trigger. And now usually I work through them in like 2 minutes flat.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's a miracle.
it's a true miracle. It really is.
I know it's when you're going through this work, it's really hard to explain what's happening to you,
Yeah,
isn't it? Like, I
yeah.
can't even put words out there to explain the things that happen to you when you go deep and start
Mhm.
really healing from deep, deep trauma. But I will say, during the process of working with you, it was like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Better than like a downward descent, though. At least you get the ups.
Yes. And that's why I wanted to say this, because you were talking about triggers, being triggered for a long time, years. Absolutely. I used to be triggered for years, literally years. That's where the depression and the suicidal thoughts came in. Like, I was so stuck in my head and in my body, just trapped. And it was horrible. But then when we started working on all of this stuff, it was like, okay, a little bit better, and then, okay, down a little bit, and then up 3 steps, and then down 2 steps. And this went on for a good year, year and a half, probably.
Yeah.
But now it's been, let's see, over 2 years now.
Few years last February.
It takes a lot to trigger me, and it doesn't last near
Yeah.
as long as it used to.
Hmm. Yeah,
So to me, that's a big miracle too.
it is. And like so many people, they just feel like they get triggered and it's so easy to blame circumstances. But this work is so empowering because it brings you all back to what's possible for you. And the bet, what comes to mind right now is one of the coolest things that this work has helped me with, and that I know it's helped you with, is deepen our connection to God, to the divine. Because I know that you grew up religious and I grew up atheist, so we came from the opposite ends. And I always felt like abandoned and embarrassed by the idea of believing in God and things like that. And you had like these certain rules you had to follow, and it's like cool how our paths sort of diverged in the middle, and we're able to let go of all of the beliefs that was given to us and really tap into that connection within our hearts of that higher power.
That's one of another big thing you've helped me with too, because God, that was a tricky, sticky, icky one. The religious trauma, my God. But yes, I know what God is now, and I know what the truth of that is now. For me, you've helped me so much with that, because I used to be so confused. I didn't even know what God was. I didn't know what the heck to believe. No clue. I just knew that I was brought up a certain way. The rules that I was told didn't make any sense, but I had to believe them, and I didn't know why. And
Mm,
it was just, my mind's blown how trapped I was.
yeah. What would
So
you say is the difference now with how you connect to God?
all I have to do is drop in my heart. I don't have to go somewhere. I don't have to ask someone. I don't even really have to pray. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's here, it's within me. It's not something outside of me looking down, like, as you say, a man in the sky with a beard looking down on
Yeah.
me. No. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe like God is literally our imagination, like never got our teachers, looking through our own eyes, having a personal experience through us. So to me, that makes praying and decreeing so much more powerful, because you're not talking to something out there that's hearing billions of others. You're talking to your own personal guiding force of love that cares about you and wants you to experience and create. But that's where it comes in, I think, is like God will say yes to everything. So you say, I'm not good enough, God says yes. You say, oh, it's unsafe, God says yes. You say, I'm safe and mean it, God says yes.
Yes, and I still struggle with that, because again, I'm human, but
Yep.
like, for the most part, it is so much better. But yeah, I still say to myself sometimes, this is really hard. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when we played the Amen game?
Yes.
Do you want to tell
Yes.
people about that?
Yeah. So basically, one of your exercises was, okay, I want you to start saying amen after everything that you hear in your head, negative or otherwise. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then I would hear something negative in my head, like, for instance, I'm going to fail and life's going to be really hard. Amen. No, not amen,
Yeah.
because I don't want that.
Yeah.
So it like, it kind of, it grasps you in the moment, like really gets you honed in on what exactly you want.
Yeah.
And the amen at the end puts so much oomph to that. So yeah, when you be careful what you're saying to yourself is
Yeah.
what you're getting down to.
Yeah, because every thought is a prayer. Every thought is ultimately creating and adding up. So if we're just constantly thinking, oh, all these negative things without and thinking that it's not doing anything, but it actually is, it's creating the exact things that we say we don't want. And that's what this whole work is about ultimately, is getting control of our mind, deepening into our connection into love and God, the divine. And what else? Like feeling healthy and vibrant and fantastic.
It's essentially, it's getting down to the core of who we are supposed to be, like who we were born to be. That's what this work does. This work brings you to who you were born to be, placed on this planet to be.
Yeah.
And I will say from my personal experience, I never knew who the heck I was because there was so much in the way, so much garbage in the way. I had no clear picture of it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I pretty much know, for the most part. I know like there's still some doubts and fears that come up, and that's just going to happen. But for the most part, I know who I am, and I
Yeah.
know what my truth is, and I know what I stand for, and I know what I believe in. And that's a miracle in itself as well, because I used to be this confused girl that was so riddled with fear day in and day out that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. And that's the truth. Because if I looked at myself in the mirror, it was even more confusing because I did not know who I was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like we're always told, or we're made to believe and all that, that we are things like our job, and our religion, and we're all those sorts of things. But we're not that at all. What I learned over time and what we've been working on together is that it's all about your likes, dislikes, and values, which are your desires, boundaries, and what's important to you. That's who we really are. And God speaks to us through our highest desires that expand us and make us feel better when we do them, basically. So for me, that's one of my lessons still that I'm working through is learning when and how to listen to the highest desire as opposed to the easy craving, because that's been my whole story through addiction and craving and whatnot. Not so that's my one thing that I've been working through. But even still, I feel like it's light years different to than it ever used to be. I'm so much more conscious about it. I'm in so much more control. I'm able to turn towards the truth that I hear within me so much more of the time. And I'm certainly still practicing it. But, I also don't believe any of us need to be masters to be able to share and help people with this work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible, and it's amazing that this even exists. And the way that I met you is a miracle too. And I'm talking about miracles because I'm calling this miracles.
Yeah.
It's just been one miracle after the other. And a lot of the things I say, I still can't even believe. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you forget things that have happened, like everyone does. We forget the transformations because they become so normal.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it is hard to believe because it's stuff that just isn't supposed to exist. But here's what gets me, though. Here's what I find funny. on one hand, people are like, oh, it's impossible to change. For instance, like my back pain or whatever it is, my fibromyalgia or my anxiety, etc. So hard to change. But then when they actually get a technique that does give them shifts every time they do a session, sometimes people get to a point where after just a few weeks, they're like, well, you know, it should have worked by now. It's like, but it is working. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just like going to the gym if you're 100 pounds overweight. You can't go just for 3 weeks, for even 12 weeks, for even 6 months and expect that you're going to be completely done. It does not work like that, but it's worth it. Even though it does take work, it is worth the work because you get a lifetime back that you never would have had otherwise.
100% agree. Yes. I love your analogy about going to the gym because that is exactly what this is like.
Yeah.
Different, a little bit different results, but pretty much the same. That's exactly how this works. And it does work. It's one step forward, a couple steps back, like I was just explaining earlier. But the fact that it does work is amazing. But yes, I still have to remind people that I work with that it is working. You are getting better. It's incremental steps towards better. It's not one big, you wake up one day and you're amazing. That's just not how it works.
I mean, but here's the thing, after you do it for quite a while, then eventually like that time when your sciatica sort of popped and like in your leg changed. I remember you telling me the story of how you were looking at people and you were driving. This was like 2 weeks after one of our last sessions or something. And you had this thought come to you that went, what was it?
Yeah, I was driving down the road in my car and all of a sudden just felt this clarity in my back, like this space, I will say, in my back. And I looked around at other people, which by the way, I never do. Because I was too scared to look at other people. And I had this thought of, wow, other people aren't really that scary after all. And I was like 100% comfortable just completely looking people in the eyes. Mm-hmm. And then no back pain.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you experienced like a bit of a pop in your leg, I think, because it's all connected. You had like this whole back pain and leg situation going on together.
Yeah, I had back pain and lumbar and sciatica down my right leg where I couldn't feel my right foot for a long time. And it was all connected. Yes, I do remember that. There was like a sound that came from my leg during all of this driving down the road car experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, it probably took us, about 30 sessions on the back pain specifically. Is that about right, do you think?
Probably, give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, it's like, but here's what I know I have absolute full faith in. And this is what I told you when we started with the back pain. And I meant it and I mean it and I know it. You just keep going and it works. Like you just keep going and it works. Because every time it dissolves more, it releases more, and it just adds up.
Yes.
Oh, Samuel is here. Hi, Samuel.
Oh, hi, Samuel.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, you kept telling me, just keep going. We're just going to keep going. And I was like, okay, we're just going to keep going. And we did. But, it was either do this and try something new or go and get surgery.
Yeah.
Those are my two options. Or be in pain.
Right. And considering at the end of each session, you felt so much better. And then the pain would creep back in, and then we'd do another session and the pain would creep back in. And it was so cute because every maybe 6 weeks, you'd be like, I don't know if this is going to work. And I'd be like, it's okay, Kelly. It's just another moment. You're just going through another wave. This too will pass. And then eventually after about another 2 or 3 weeks, you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. This is the best thing ever. And then about another 6 weeks later, it's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, keep going. It's gonna work.
It was your belief in me and your belief that it was going to work that put me what's the word? Lifetimes ahead.
Mm.
Yeah.
Belief, the faith is everything. Like it is so important. Like as we said, the amen game. If you say this is going to work, amen, that's a powerful prayer. If you say, I don't know, this isn't going to work, amen, it's like, and the reason, for anyone that doesn't get it, the reason we say amen on the end is to make the point that everything that we think is a prayer, right?
Yeah, because it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If the God is within each of us, then it is a prayer.
Yeah, responding to everything we say.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to people that are like, well, then I have to think positive all the time? What would you say?
Well, this is the exact opposite of thinking positive, because a lot of the positive thinking community, it totally bypasses what's really happening. This is actually more like a dance. This is a relationship with yourself where instead of denying what you're actually feeling under the surface, so you pretend to be positive, you get to the truth of when you're scared, and you learn how. And as I always say to my clients, the healing doesn't come from just deleting the pain, and this is a bitter pill for everyone to swallow. They don't like to hear this, but the healing does not come from just making the pain go away. It comes from letting it hurt and loving it as it hurts. And so it's about being in that relationship, talking to yourself, and like, well, why am I scared? Like, what is actually happening? Why am I resisting this? Like, why am I avoiding this? All those things, listening to yourself, maybe in a journal or in a tapping session or just in your head is okay too. And then you don't just sit in it though, you do it with the intention to reframe it and walk it up into a powerful feeling place where you know you have control over your own actions, and you know the mindset. I give my clients a mindset, thought sets, thinking sets to think in, actual thought keys that when you think these specific sentences, they're sort of like affirmations, but they're more like beliefs. So like that everything is working out for me no matter how it seems, and even if it's not working out, then it means there must be a lesson. So what could the lesson be? Everything's happening for my own soul's evolution. And so when you go from the negative to then reframing, once you're ready into that, well, you told me yourself, Kelly, how wasn't it like it seemed like empty for a long time, and then as about a few months in of saying these beliefs, it started clicking and you started believing it.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was almost delusional telling myself those things. I didn't believe them at all. I had not at all, but I would repeat them to myself anyway. And eventually I would start hearing them in my head, like just going about my day.
Yeah.
And then now I actually do believe that everything is working out for me. 2 years ago, heck no, I couldn't have said that.
And the way that we implanted it was by allowing ourselves to bring up the negative, be negative, feel it, sit in it, be brave enough and breathe into it and love it, all the things, but then reframe. It's like, okay, I get it. I feel this way. I understand, but it's just a thought. It's just a thought. What's really true is that I'm open to the believing that everything is working out for me. And just like Napoleon Hill teaches in Think and Grow Rich, they call it auto-suggestion back then. It's auto-suggestion. If you will repeat something to you enough and agree with it as you say it, even if it doesn't feel true, eventually it will become true. But you have to actually be able to, it has to feel at least neutral when you say it, when you say it to some degree. If you're just saying it and you feel the opposite, it's not going to work.
So that's where bridging beliefs come in.
Yeah,
like you're saying, I'm open to one day believing that everything is working out for me or whatever.
Yeah. And then if that still feels wobbly, you like, because truth, when you believe something and it's true, it will feel solid and clear. But if you're saying everything is working out for me and it feels a bit unsure, that's because you have a countermanding belief in the background saying, I don't know. So you just add a maybe on the end. I'm open to believing that maybe one day I will believe that everything is working out for me. Still feels wobbly. Maybe. And then that will help to implant the belief in your head, because you're disarming all of the mind fields from your nervous system saying it's not safe to believe this. It's saying, well, maybe one day I could believe it. Yeah. And it starts agreeing with it.
Yeah, so much of the things that we think we believe are given to us by other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rules, you
society.
think?
Yeah, the rules that are all made up.
They're all made up.
So why not make your own rules?
And that's the only thing that actually works, is working with your nature rather than against it. Like realizing, and it's about making yourself not wrong. We constantly make ourselves wrong for even like the time we want to wake up, or the way we want to do the work, or if we don't want to do, say, video and everyone's doing video and we want to write instead, we're like, oh no, but everyone's doing that, so I have to do that and I'll fail if I don't. It's like, no, you'll fail if you try to do something that doesn't feel right for you.
Yeah, that's funny. Have to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
So what else? I'm sure there are other things. Like, it's just been, for me as a healer, you've been like a treasure trove for me. There's been lots of little things to clear up and heal. It's been a real honor, honestly, to be able to help you go from suicidal. Oh yes, the other thing was on like a high dose of antidepressants to coming down to very low doses and going between on and low doses, which is just a miracle.
That is, and that's something I never dreamed would happen, like to get off of those. And I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not trying to be one here, but I'm just saying it is possible, because it was possible for me. I was on those for over 14 years. That's
Wow.
a long time.
Yeah.
On a very high dose of antidepressants. And it was just through this work. I mean, we've unraveled layer by layer by layer that I don't need that. I don't require it anymore, because I'm not the same person I used to be.
Yeah. And you help so much if you stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
I just want to put that out there, that anybody listening to this that's thinking to themselves, I'm going to be on this stuff forever, there are options.
Yeah,
So.
You're looking at it. What's really important to note though is that at the time you had this really great doctor that helped you come off them gradually. So you did have a wise doctor's supervision. You didn't just like go off them or do it on your own, but you were very clear with her about your intentions and about the energy work that you were doing alongside it. So she helped you come down, and you had that medical help, right, to actually come off.
Thank you for reminding me. See, I forget things like this. Yes, I did have a naturopathic doctor I was working with that was also, he was an MD, helped me to wean off of antidepressants very, very slowly while knowing I was doing EFT.
Yeah. And some of the work we had to do around it was the stigma of being on antidepressants. I remember as you get into low doses, when you felt like you needed to do it again, I was like, and you were getting upset about it. And I'm like, but Kelly, it's okay. It doesn't mean anything if you have to take them. It's absolutely okay to have some support like that. And so when you got out of your head about it, then it just sort of started happening naturally.
Yes, that was a really big thing for me, because I felt bad for having to take something, and nobody should feel that way. But I needed it at the time. It's what I needed. But yes, there was a big stigma around being on something.
Yeah.
But I feel different about that now. People need to be on things if they need to be on things.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I would just say to know that to do the energy work. I mean, seriously, people, you gotta do this work. What Kelly and I do is quite unique. There are other people around the world that do similar stuff that we do. So if you feel more resonating with them, go with them. But otherwise, if you're feeling resonating with us, I would really love to invite you to reach out to one of us, whichever is fine, because we're both very skilled. I have taught Kelly in my technique, and I help her still in between clients, and I give her ideas of what to say and things like that. I've been doing this for 10 years myself, and I'm very intuitive and just have a real knack for exactly what it takes to heal a thing in a person. So yeah, if you're like thinking that there are things you want to change in your life, even if you can't put your finger on it, whether it's emotional, like real world relationships, physical pain, anything, literally it will work on all of it. So if you're willing to actually show up to sessions and maybe do some work in between, then you've got to try this work, because we wouldn't be who we are today without it.
It's true. Wouldn't be on this call, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been so great. I could sit here all day and share stories, but we can't do that. I guess we could, but we're not
technically good if we want to.
But yeah, this work is miracle work.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you feel stuck with, you're not.
Oh, you know what else? This work helped you quit your job that you thought you were stuck in for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh, yes. I used to have this belief that I was stuck at this place doing this job. It was a whole big story in my head.
You were so convinced, like, this is it. Can't do anything else. I went to school for this. I have to do it. But I hate it.
Yes. I've been out of that job for over a year now. Can you believe it?
Amazing. Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And I just love too how this is the way like God works in the mysterious ways things is. I remember it was because you were frustrated that out of the blue, you just quit. Like, what happened with that?
I didn't even plan to quit the day I left. It just all lined up, one thing after another, bam, bam, bam. And I was like, that's it. Fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
And that was my last day. It was just a shit show at work. I couldn't take any more physically, and God was like, okay, here's the door. You're free to go now.
Yeah. And you know what's so amazing is you walked your ass out of there and you went and you got yourself jobs. You're running 2 businesses now, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, I've come a long way. I have to say I am proud of myself.
Yeah, you deserve to be.
That's something I probably couldn't have said in the past. But yes, I am very proud of myself.
Oh, well, thank you so much for wanting to talk about your experiences. You know how much it means to me to, have you in my life and be able to help you with this and, all of the things.
Yes, I feel the same. I love you so much.
I love you too, Kelly. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please share this if this has helped you. Follow Kelly Renee. Follow me, Kai Ashley. We're both on YouTube, Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And what else? Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I just hope that who needs to hear this hears it. I'm setting that intention.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. We're signing off. Bye.
Bye.